I'm about to embark on mounting some mirrors onto the car. So Melissa, this is Melissa, my daughter. If you can, she's my beautiful assistant, who's also supposed to be a bit more artistic than me. So I'm going to take care of the engineering, and I'm checking with her about the aesthetics. So we decided that the mirror needed to be about out here to be in the correct position for me to see. And it was about 70 millimeters off the side of the car. So I'm after it to be a little higher and a little wider than the existing mirror, to again get that look down the side of the car. So on the other side, there's already an antenna, and as I said, I took the radio out, so I'm not sure whether I should pull the antenna out or not. But at the moment it's filling 2 holes, and I wouldn't use those holes, so I'm kind of inclined to leave it there just for aesthetics. So we were sitting, and it was going to be a little bit more. One of the things we have to be careful of is that we can still open the door, because the door opens as a suicide door from the front, and it has to sweep past the mirror, and it's also hard to shut. Okay, there we go. So sitting about, I'm guessing about here, and that's the goal. So stylistically, this car, you know, we look at the handles on there, they're sort of swept. We got these sort of teardrop tapered door handles. You can let that go on here, and on the back, and Melissa can have a look at this too, we have again a sort of a teardrop look on the boot hinges. So, and yeah, on the door hinges we have these sort of protruding, curved looking hinges. And when I got the car was resprayed not that very long ago, and I got a lot of detail like the running boards. There's a roof. I'm not sure whether the American ones came with an insert in the roof, but this one was made by General Motors Holden, this body, or coach makers actually, General Motors Holden coach makers, and I don't believe they didn't have the capacity or the ability to make a complete roof section, so this is just filled in. And we've got a rear bumper bar, not the original one, but again it's matte black, and the detail behind the indicators is matte black. So I've gone for matte black on other detail, if it's not chrome. So I'm thinking I'll powder coat the there you go. I'm thinking I'll powder coat the mounts, and I'll powder coat them matte black. So we'll go in now and have a think about the design. I'm sort of the engineering, and I'm looking to Melissa to at least, oh yes, there you go, another strong stylistic statement, the mascot. So everything is that sort of teardrop, fast looking shape. So if I can in some way emulate that, I'm thinking when you put those mirrors out on the side, even this one, it sort of flops around a bit, but it's just attached to the door with a couple of screws clamping it. It's not actually drilled, I believe. So, but there's a bit of a wind surface on there. So in a lot of ways, this movement this way, as well, at least that way, as you're driving, there's going to be a lot more pressure on it than there is on this way. So in mounting it, I have to keep in mind, I have a tendency to over design So, you know, in my head I'm thinking of having some sort of a long bracket along this way coming out, and some sort of a teardrop motif or something, and then another bracket coming down off the side down here to stabilise it this way. But looking at this, one wonders whether that isn't more than is needed, but I'd rather do it better than it needs to be than not as well as it needs to be, because if you're driving along and it falls off, nobody's happy. So here's the material that I bought some time ago to make the mounts out of. It is 100mm wide, and I just measured it. It's longer than longer than the rule, but it's 165 long. So, and I measured that. There's 15 there. So, and it's 25 aluminium. So this is for both brackets. So that's my starting point. Well, after much standing around and looking at things and getting Melissa to hold mirrors while I try to see if I can see them, this is the concept that I've come up with. So this would be the driver side here, and you just mirror it for the passenger side. So we're trying to pick up these sorts of lines along here, and getting that sort of swept. I'm desperately hoping it doesn't... well, by the time you've got a mirror coming out of here and coming out around there, and you're looking at it for a different angle, it may not look quite so, well, quite as it does in this drawing. I'm hoping. So, on this section here, I would also look to have, looking at that, so looking at it from the outside, this is as if you're looking from, looking at the door, from away from the door, and that's this section here. So we're looking at that from this angle. This point here in the middle, like against the door, would have this sort of emulating the door handle kind of shape, and this part coming out here would only be able to have these sorts of radiuses, and hidden would be this, which is against the car. So this is that section there. So what I'm going to do is I can put 3 good screws down here to mount it into the onto the car. So that is where I'm at the moment. I'm planning to make something quickly out of wood so we can actually physically hold it in place. And to fit this, I'll need to remove the antenna, so I'll have to plug a hole down the bottom. There's 2 mounts for the antenna, and the bottom one wouldn't be used, and the top one is, I would try and cover it. But I don't think I can reuse it. But that is where we're at now. So I'll make up the wooden model and we'll see how we are. So I've made the wooden template, and I was thinking of tapering this back part down to a point, but I think it works quite well like it is. And that mirror, I've just sat in the car, and that mirror is sitting pretty well exactly where I want it to sit. So I should be able to mount that where it is sitting now. So now we need to go to the other side and have a look at that. So now the other side of the car, we've just flipped that same one over, and that's sitting here, and it's actually covering over. If we look here, there's the hole for the antenna that I've now taken off that I didn't need anymore. But that, I can use that hole actually. But that, and if I come here, that lines quite nicely, and the door just opens. So if we open the door, we see that there's not a gap, the big gap, but there is definitely a gap. So I think what that says to me is I need to make 2 of those, and I don't think, even lining up along here, I don't think that this does need to be tapered down along to a point on the end here. I think, and what were you doing there, Melissa? Do you think it needs to? No.
No.
We're in agreement.
I think it matches both the tapers on the doorknobs, but also the thickness of the door hinges.
So I think that might be what we have to make 2 of. So that'll do for the moment.